What's up, guys? So this video is just to show you a little issue I ran up on. Yeah, so my rear caliper is giving out. I was planning to replace this, well, I was planning to replace both rear, but unfortunately I had to be quick and get myself a used caliper. Now, for this particular caliper, I don't know if you can notice brake fluid stains back here, like I said, on the floor. And I can show you how bad it is from under the car. So, I don't know if you can see it. I think the light is in the way. Give me a sec. So if you can see it, that's a lot of fluid coming from the caliper. At first I thought it was a line, but the line seems intact. So it's behind, it's back of the caliper where the piston is, and I guess the seals, one of them probably either got, messed up, worn out, torn open, whatever, but fluids pretty much escaped from the back. You could tell from the amount of fluid it eating up the paint on the caliper. So something like this, you just go ahead and replace. Don't bother try to rebuild it. I mean, if you got the time, I guess, but I mean, when you put this kind of pressure with your car, when you have too much fun in the corners, braking and everything, wear and tear increases significantly. So I was not surprised. That's why when you're having, when you're driving your car hard most of the time, just always do your routine inspection. You will never know what's gonna pop up, because you cannot compare it to like a regular daily driver where you just go to, point A to point B in the most fuel efficient and, moderate manner. So, just to show you guys that anything could happen, anything could give out, and it's especially when it comes to brakes, to me, or it shouldn't be just for me, but for everyone, that's a safety issue. So I got a vice grip, pretty much pinch the brake hose just to hold the pressure back a bit, and you need get an 11 socket and just break that bolt off, and you're gonna get a little fluid coming out. I'm gonna get some rag on the floor, but I recommend you put a rag on the floor to reduce some mess. But there's just the remainder fluid from that part, from that end of the vice grip to the piston or to the caliper. So you're gonna have a little bit of fluid, which is fine, don't worry about it, as long as it's not consistent. So you're gonna have a little fluid come out and then it should stop. And then once we get that off, we move on and get in the braking cable off. Now, before you start doing the braking cable, I highly recommend you release the brake, the parking brake handle. There's gonna be tension, so I think it's better to do it that way. Okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. All right, so went ahead, got the bolt out, so it's not leaking. So that means it's holding pressure, which is great and all. And I got this cable off, like that cable, part of the cable off of that end. I was trying to get that other side off. There's like I don't know if I could zoom. There you go. My hand is in the way, but pretty much those little tabs, you just gotta squeeze it and it goes into the hole, and it's supposed to just come right out. I'm gonna go ahead and take the caliper off, so I kind of have a little bit more leverage. It's kind of hard. I don't think, because I don't have much room, because when I have to get that side and then the other side behind it to make sure it gets in. You know what I mean? So I thought I could just push this one in, and then it tilts, and then I just get the other side. But I guess I gotta get them both at the same time. For this spring, it's a little bit challenging to push it back, or to get that end of the cable off. So what I used a little pry bar, and I kind of just went like that, and I just pull it, and it should give me more enough leverage to pull it all the way back so I could get the cable off. I mean, if you're strong enough, you know, good for you and all that, but that's like the easiest way and the least effort to do it. Alright, so the next step now, I'm going ahead and take the caliper off, and then I go ahead and get that cable off, and then we should put everything back on our new caliper. So alright, so I got the caliper off. So like I said, like I said, there's gonna be two like tabs, like locking tabs, and you have to squeeze. You kind of have to squeeze them at the same time. So when you squeeze them, you just twist, and they slowly just come right out, and then the whole thing comes right off. So pretty straightforward. So in comparison, this is what I'm talking about. It's leaking from the back, because you could tell, you know, it's spreading all over from the rear, and it's eating out the paint. So it's leaking from the back where the piston is. So this is no longer good. Yeah, that's done for it. This is a new one. Pretty much is exactly the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this one on, but right before I do that, let me go ahead and clean up a little bit. I'll say use like a brake cleaner or something, or a rag. Just get excess dirt off, and you know, it's kind of like a little presentable. To remove, I forgot to mention it, to remove the caliper at 13. So I use the wrench to break it, and the ratchet, just go ahead and take it off. Also, there's gonna be like an extra one here. This is actually a slide pin, so sometimes it rotates with the bolt. So I will say get a vice grip. Just get a vice grip, lock that sucker in tight, and you can just take that out real quick. Simple, easy, no biggie. So we're pretty much halfway there. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put the new caliper back on. So don't have any more brake cleaner. It's a bummer. I went ahead and just cleaned it as much as I can with a rag, just to get the excessive dirt off. I noticed that it also started eating out the paint on the bracket itself. So I guess in the future, when I replace the rotor, I'll go ahead and take this and replace the bracket as well. And yeah, these pads are still in good shape. Pretty much halfway there. So I guess when it's time to change these suckers, I'll go ahead and change the rotors. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the caliper back on. Alright, so got the caliper back on. Nice and snugged. I went ahead and tightened both bolts, top and let's see if you can see from the angle. Well, bottom. So top and bottom is already tightened. I pretty much did this cable in reverse. So what I did, I guess for this, you just push it right through. So when you push it right through, you're gonna hear like a little click sound. So that's basically the plastic expanding. When it expands, it locks into place right here. So this won't go anywhere. And then I use the crowbar the same way to get it out. Same way I put it back in. Just put some pressure on it. It will lean back, and you get that end behind it. And then when it catches it, it'll lock it in place, and then you're perfectly fine. And then for the hose, when I put it back on, it's pretty much straightforward. These two little tabs, or guides I should say,
they're just there to make sure it stays in place while you're tightening so it won't turn. So when you tighten it, please don't muscle it out. You're not trying to, I get it, you're trying to minimize the chance of any leaking. Trust me, you just want to get a good snug. Don't overdo it. So like, say you get it snug and you do like a little bit of turn and it's in place, it's tightened. Got 2 washers and everything, so it's going to hold it down. And for an inspection, I'll recommend getting an extra guy to pump the brake while you look and inspect to see if there's any fluid coming out. And if there is, one of 2 things. I'll say either you get a new washer or you tighten a little bit more. But like I said, you don't want to muscle this out. The last thing you want to do is break something. All right, so I did one, just to inspect everything, make sure everything is intact, make sure everything is golden. So right now, I don't know if you can see it. Yes, you can. So that right there, you need some more light. 1 minute. So that right there, that's the bleeder nozzle. So I'm gonna release that for pressure, and I'll just get any extra air out of it, and then also put some extra fluid in the reservoir, or not the master cylinder. Just put some more fluid inside of the brake system, so we get some fluid filling out. So yeah, before you do this, like I said, get an extra guy, pump the brakes, and just watch to see if there's any fluid escaping from there. And if it's not, perfect, and it's not going in there, well, if it doesn't go anywhere else but the bleeder nozzle, I mean, you're good. So once you get the extra air out, you should see consistent fluid coming out. Like if you see little bubbles, that means just this extra air. But once you get consistent fluid coming out, perfect. Go ahead and tighten it up, and you're good to go. For the sequence, just because I just replaced the caliper, I know there's not going to be a lot of air in the system, so it's just mostly air is going to be trapped within the caliper, so I don't have to bleed the whole system. But the procedure, how it works, is where what I'll do, I'm going to ask my the extra guy to help me. He's going to pump the brakes until it stays solid. Once it stays solid, I turn the nozzle to have the fluid escaping out of it. And then, like I said, it's gonna be having air and bubbles and stuff like that coming out, and then it's gonna be it should be solid. Once it's solid, I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten it up, and I'm gonna ask him to pump it again. And when he pumps it, he's gonna hold it. And the key thing now, when he holds it, he's gonna tell me if he feels the same pressure. But if it's slowly sagging or sinking or feels spongy or anything, that means there's still air in the system. So, like I said, he's gonna pump it first to have it solid. I release this little nozzle, and then you're gonna have the extra whatever air is in it is gonna escape out of it, and it should be solid fluid. After that, tighten it up, tell him to pump it, and he's gonna hold, like say, give it like 3 Mississippis. If it stays in the same position, if he doesn't feel anything, you're golden. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and I'll let you know what happens next. So also went ahead and like I said, I bleed. So I'll show you again. Went ahead and bleed the nozzle. A little bit of air came out, just a little bubble here and there, but we made sure it's still stiff. There's no sagging, nothing like that. So it was good brakes, good brakes, no leaks, nothing. So this is a used one, so we'll see how long this lasts. If right now this was cost efficient, this caliper alone was like $40. And knocking this out probably took me like what, 50 minutes. I recommend getting new ones because If you have the money anytime, I would say recommend get some new ones, some new seals, new everything. But I got a used one just to at least have the sense of comfort and safety. Like I said, it could have been a lot worse. I could have keep going using the old one, and then eventually, God forbid, it gives out. Obviously, it won't be significant. I'll still have braking power on the front, but like I said, I like to have all my brakes in good working order, so I don't want to find out like, oh, one failed on me and it feels weird or it's not as responsive or anything. So hope you like this video. If you do like it, you know, if any comments anything you want to share, just let me know.